Hi, I'm Mark Scherer. I'm the CEO and founder of Encompass Life and the host of the Encompassing Life Podcast. Today we have Dr. Joseph Claino. He's from, he lives in Atlanta, Georgia, and he prefers to be called Dr. Joe. And I've just spoken with him a few minutes, and this guy is brilliant, brilliant. He has a series of, he has a number of chiropractic studios or clinics, and he's also opening some longevity clinics as well, which we'll talk about on another show. But this guy, he has his stuff together, and I love his hairdresser. How you doing?
Hey, thanks, Doc. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, Dr. Joe. So you said you have, I believe you said you're involved in 38 clinics now.
Yes. Yes, sir. Yep.
So what's the special sauce in your 38 clinics that's had you expand to this level?
I think what happens when you start really breaking down what goes on with any kind of business, whether it's chiropractic or roofing, it doesn't really make a difference. It's all about procedures and what you're doing, and
Mhm.
and making sure that those procedures are one transferable, that people can actually do them, that they can duplicate them over and over again. And what we've keeping it simple, stupid, if you will,
Right,
making things as easy and legitimate that is reproducible as possible, and giving the franchisees as many tools as possible so that they're able to at any point in time go in the toolbox and then get something done or solved.
right. Your desire to be successful, make sure everyone around you is successful.
Yep.
You know,
100%.
I'm a big proponent of that as well. So you've been involved with chiropractic for how many years?
About 28 years now.
Gotcha. What
Yeah.
had you get involved with chiropractic to begin with?
Great thing. I was 12 years old. My mom was passing out. She was having dizzy spells like crazy, and having getting bronchitis 2 or 3 times a year. No one could figure it out. I remember going with her to all those specialists all over the Northeast. I lived in Jersey. I grew up in New Jersey, and someone said, "Hey, go see a chiropractor," and you're like, "What? For what?" And they're like, "Well, go see him. If you have nothing else to lose, you've been to 10 different doctors, you've tried everything, you're still having the issues, you're on all these medications, and nothing's working."
Right.
So she threw it out there and went to this chiropractor, Dr. Dennis Cerrone, and boom, all of it stopped. And so I started going when I was a kid. He was like, I was an athlete playing football and different sports, and he was like, bring him in. So I started getting adjusted. And I remember listening to him talk about this thing called innate intelligence, and the body's smart and the heals. And I remember as a kid going, that makes sense. But I didn't know what to do with it, right? Well, 4 years later, I met my wife in high school, who is now still my wife of 37 years. And that was her uncle. And here we are, 14 chiropractors in the family. We are.
That's wild, dude.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's a crazy story.
Awesome. Where were you raised?
New Jersey, Tom's River, just on the shore. Little League
Yeah.
World Champions a few
I,
years back.
I
And
detected a bit of a northern
yeah, I got
accent.
a little Jersey in me. I can't take the boy out of Jersey. Get the Jersey.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so let's go back to the procedures at your clinics. What
Mhm.
services do you offer?
In our chiropractic clinic, we do obviously chiropractic. We have a big family practice. We have about 300 kids a week that come through our clinic from a day old all the way up. I think our oldest patient's 90 something, 94 right now. So we see everybody, huge family practice. We really kind of believe that we're the portal for people. So people come to our practice and we become their advisor to health, right? So they kind of lean into us for everything. And that is the model we've built. We do functional medicine there. I do a lot of functional medicine. I've been doing functional medicine for 18 years. That's
Hmm.
how I got into all this other stuff. I got sick with Hashimoto's 18 years ago. And I went down that rabbit hole of learning all about functional and thyroid and all these different services and different things that go around it. We also offer decompression at our clinics.
Yeah.
So that really works well for disc issues and people have herniated stuff like that. And then we have something called TRT or soft wave. I don't know if you ever heard of that
Yeah.
technology.
Yep.
Yeah, so we do that at our clinic as well. And those are the big things. We have pre and post therapies for correction, spinal correction, but that's the biggest stuff in the office.
Gotcha. Do you do the lasers or any of that stuff as
I don't
well?
have a laser, but I love lasers. I think they're great. I just don't have
Yeah.
one.
Gotcha. So you ever use a shock? You ever use shockwave?
Yeah, that's what I have. The TRT is shockwave.
Okay,
Yep.
shockwave. I
Yeah,
gotcha.
that
Yeah,
is it.
those are awesome, dude.
Yeah. It does some really cool stuff. We've seen some neat things happen with shockwave.
Yeah, I had a torn rotator cuff and so I'm still healing it, but it's man, the shockwave has really accelerated it.
Yeah, it's good stuff. You know, you know, years ago when I first started chiropractic, I was in the mindset that, you know, I would only do everything with my hands. You know what I mean?
Mm,
And as I've gotten older, I've learned that this thing called life that we experience as humans now is just at a pace and speed and load that we've never had before in the history of man, from stress, chemical stress, physical, emotional stresses, all the way through. And the art of what we do as chiropractors, although it's fantastic and it's crazy, people don't hold their adjustments like they used to because the environment's that much
yeah.
stronger than it before. And so over the years, I've just learned that these adjunct things help readjust and correct the body in a way that people just absolutely need to
Mm,
get
yeah.
better. It's just they need some help.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, you're talking about all this emotional stress and everything, and the toxicity coming in from the outer. What we do here is we work on the internal toxicity being produced by, some people would call it negative emotions. We don't use the word positive or negative, but we talk about how different or anything other than love produces a toxicity in the body, and that toxicity keeps that person's innards from healing.
Hmm, I can see that. Yep.
Yeah. And so
I've done a
we have
lot
a
of studying on that, on the neuroplasticity of all that. And most of my patients that come in for functional, I would say a good 80, 90% of them have a massive emotional component to it
yeah,
that is there. And so I don't do that work, obviously, but I love people like you that do, because there's a part of their health that's part of that pie that has to get solved. You could
right.
do all the detoxes and diets and
Mhm.
supplements, adjustments and everything, but you also got to fix the brain. It's really
Yeah,
important.
yeah. If you don't adjust internal toxicity, it's like going to a yoga class and then going out and hitting a bar. Detox and retox.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, um, so whenever your clients come in, what is and I assume this is a franchise model for you. So all the franchises have a similar look and feel.
Yeah, I would say 95% of them do almost very similar things. Some do a couple other services other than others, but for the most part, it's very similar. Some do,
Gotcha,
functional, some don't. Some have decompression, some don't. It just depends on the clinics. But
gotcha.
it's
Do
the
all of them have the all your franchises have shockwave?
no, only a handful of them do. Yeah, we give these options to them. Say you can bring these services in if you choose to. Here's the
Right.
X, Y services that you can bring in. Some people choose to bring them in. Some people don't. Those machines are expensive. They're all expensive. So some people just economically they got to make sure the practice is busy enough and it financially makes sense to buy a big ticket price like that.
Yeah, I've heard some people saying this thing's cost like around 100 grand.
They can. Yeah, they've gone up now. Yeah,
There,
mine was like 80.
I interviewed a guy on podcast. He's out of Atlanta,
Hmm.
and he's making them here in the States, and I believe his are around 20, all American
Oh
made.
yeah. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, and I've looked into them and I've heard good things about them. So, I mean, listen, there's so many companies out there now doing it because what's happened is the technology and the research is really behind it now. So now to build the machines isn't that crazy. So that there's people popping up left and right making them.
Yeah, awesome, cool. Yeah, I assume you take insurance and everything as well.
I actually do not. I am 100% cash in all my businesses. I mean, not 100%, I'm like 98. So we'll take a few outside, out of network policies in our clinics, in the chiros. Some chiro clinics are insurance based. It just depends on the region. Midwest is very heavy in insurance. It's still very rich in insurance, where the East Coast is not. Like Georgia is not a great insurance state, just like benefits. So, and it's changing every day. It's becoming an interesting landscape. And I've learned over the years, we were big insurance years ago. I had a full integrated practice years ago as well, doing all the functional stuff in house, with a full medical team. And we just got to the point where insurance companies just kept cutting, 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 cutting. And I got
Right.
to the point my wife looked at me and she's like, either we go bankrupt or we go cash. And we
Uh-huh.
cash, and I've never looked back and I never will.
Gotcha. I guess patients can turn in their bills and insurance company and find it out on their
They
own.
can, yeah, they can. We super bill them, and they can send it in, and a lot of times they get reimbursed for that. Quite often they do.
Gotcha. So, do you have any stories about somebody walking in with a particular, really in bad shape, and you do a little magic on them, and
Yeah, There's stories from all over, from early on all the way out. But I will tell you that there's so many that pop in my head, so it's kind of hard to pull one out that's specific. But it's like we have many kids coming in now, like are 3, 4 years old, nonverbal, non-walking. Um, oh, I mean, a load of them. Like when I tell you it's epidemic in the process, it's really sad. These kids, I would say 3/4 of kids that walk in my office are off on the spectrum. Because people are looking for these answers and they don't know where to go, and the standard system is not giving it to them. So they come in, moms talk and they say, hey, go to the chiropractor. They'll do XYZ. They'll adjust them. They'll look at them. We check their guts. We check their food stuff. We check everything with them. And we flip these kids around, man. Like I'm talking flip them around. Like where I have kids that won't even put their legs down. I've had kids where literally you don't put them down. They just cross their legs and they sit 3, 4 years old, 5 years old, not talking. And we work them,
What?
work them. Yeah, man. And they'll, a year later, year and a half later, they're talking, running around. It's insane. I mean, it literally is like, it brings tears to my eye because it's just, you change the human's life forever. And it's
Yeah.
really cool to do that and be part of it. But
Hmm.
more importantly, when a mom and dad walk in and hand you your kid, their baby, whether it's a day old or 4 years old, whatever it is, and they say, here's our child, and they give you that child, that's massive trust.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
there's no other reward on earth than when someone hands them your child, and that's the most prized thing in their world, and they're giving it to you, saying, "I know you could do great work and help them." And it's an honor and a respect that we hold high in our clinic. My wife and our associate, Dr. Shaley, they're the two gurus when it comes to that space. We all adjust kids, but they're the gurus. And it's just wild to watch, man. You just notice that these kids are healthier, they're smarter, their white in their eyes are brighter. They
Yeah.
um they're just different kids, man. You line them up,
Yeah.
probable. It's different. You can see the kids that are Cairo kids that are not Cairo kids.
Yeah. And yeah, the I got a lot of families. They stay out of the Western model, so like they don't do the
Yeah,
yeah none of that,
smart.
and their kids never they're always healthy,
Yeah,
never see them sick, and other people in the West in the model, they always have some type of an issue, man.
sniffling, coughing, always, yep,
Yeah,
everything.
allergies,
Body
earaches,
issues.
that. I
Yep.
mean, oh, yeah.
That's one of the
Well,
biggest things we really take pride in is just educating families about what it is to dodge this thing in life. You know what I mean? Just how to be a fan. It's not easy, man. You're trying to run and manage families, so many activities these kids are doing. And then you got to like worry about food and diet on top of that. It's a lot. Like it's a lot
right,
for moms and dads. Like it's a ton. And we know that. And we really, really give them that respect and say, listen, we know this is not an easy job. And I know it's going to be a lot of work, but we'll walk with you. We're here with you. We'll go through it with you. You know what I mean? We're here as a team. My team and my practice is amazing. So we're always really making sure that people feel like they're being heard and they're being taken care of. And it's hard to do that when you're seeing lots and lots of people, but we are really diligent about making sure that we stay on top of people's care and that they know that we're here for them. It's so important.
how are you getting the like the mercury and stuff out of the kids? What are you using for that?
So a lot of zeolites we could use
Right,
zeolites, a lot of binders, supercarbons and that kind of stuff is things that really help these kids. For and foremost, most of the time, if there's genetic SNPs in there, we'll run genes on kids. We'll look at their SNPs and then we'll look at a lot of times their food and stool. 9 out of 10 times these kids have GI
crap,
issues that are messed
right,
up. So you got to fix the core, and the core of that is their gut is where your 75% of your immune system lives. And then obviously we're adjusting. So we're handling the nervous system while we're handling the immune system, the gut system. And so
hmm,
we're driving through that. And then as we lower that inflammation and literally let that gut heal, the brain starts to heal up
oh,
some.
right,
So it's not so inflamed. And then these kids start to come down. And then we start detoxing them slowly because you can't, I always say it's like jumping
mhm,
in a dirty pool. If
right,
the filter's not on, you're just wasting your time. You're just making things messy.
right,
I don't mind jumping in the pool and getting it dirty as long as the filter's on and we're pulling it out, right? If
yeah,
we're
yeah,
pulling it out, then these kids are going to just stay in a mess. And, and
right.
and a lot of times I think practitioners miss that point where they jump in, not understanding how to turn the filter on and when to turn the filter on and help these kids out. So they're just kind of missing the boat.
Gotcha. About how long is that process from?
Ooh, that's a good question. Everybody's so different. I mean, I've seen crazy things happen in a week and I've seen things happen in 2 years. I mean, it's all over the place. That's for the same thing for adults. I mean, people come in with, blown out discs. They're like, how long? I'm like, Good question. I have no idea. Like, I wish I knew. Like, everybody's so different in the world. I put guardrails up around it, but those are just guardrails, just for timelines. But it's hard to say.
I should remember his last name. There's a chiro. He's one of our students as well, and he's pretty well known. He's out of Austin, Texas. Has a really big clinic there, and he works with professional athletes, Olympic athletes. His first name's Noah. I should remember his last name.
What if I know? If I saw a picture, I may know.
Yeah. He kind of looks like Paul Mitchell.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah. Kind of has that type of a look. But yeah, he's doing some amazing things with athletes. He says a lot of his athletes he's working with. They're saying that he's giving them another 4 years. 4 years of playing professional sports, and I think he said he had 5 gold medals. Wow. His clients have had 5 gold medals with his clients and less. So
wow.
Yeah, so he really specializes in
great niche.
Yeah,
great niche. Yeah, and I love and respect those niches.
Yeah,
I think it's important. Find something you're passionate about. Find the lane you need to be in, and then go after it. And you'll attract those people left and right. Especially if you're good at what your craft and what you do. It just shows up.
Yep. So when people come into your office, what's their how do you, like somebody who's new to chiropractic, how do you set them up for success?
That's a really good question. So what happens is, we've learned over the years, people come in and they have no expectation, or if they do, they have often in their brain of what it should look like and feel like. So we're really big about expectations and agreements. Like, I'm really big about that in the clinic. We walk you through every step hand by hand, and really lay out expectations highly, so that you understand what's going on in your exam, what's going on. We go over your x-rays. We make you go over your x-rays. So we actually teach you to look at your own films and understand what's going on with your spine. Remember, at the end of the day, it's not my health, it's your health. So my whole job is to make sure I hand the basketball off to you properly. Everybody walks in and says, "Here's the ball, doc." And then they expect me to carry their ball and solve all their problems. And that's not my job. It's not our job. Our job is to analyze the ball, understand where the deficiency is and what we can do to serve and help that. And then I'm handing you back the ball, because it's your health. And we are massive proponents of that, where I'm like, no, I'm not taking your ball, and I'm not keeping your ball. And that's one of the reasons I got sick with Hashimoto's, was I was swallowing everybody's junk that walked in my office. And I started to literally, a guy sat me down and he said, "You keep swallowing everybody's junk, you're going to die early." And I walked out of that appointment and realized how messed up I was. And I shifted my whole consciousness around that. And I love people, and I bring on, like, when you're in there, I'm going to solve it. I'm going to analyze it. But then when I'm done, I leave it now. I used to carry it with me. If you didn't accept my care, I'd carry it. If you didn't follow through, I would carry it. I don't carry it anymore. Now it's like, here's my recommendations. Here's how we walk you through the process. We do an incredible job with it. And it's kind of one of those things. It's like the old adage. I don't know if you've ever heard the analogy where, like, hotel's on fire. Have you ever heard this one? The hotel's on fire. This is a great. Oh, it's great. So hotel's on fire. You go knock on the door, and the person answers the door. You're like, "Hey, the hotel's on fire." You're like, "Thanks." I'm like, "Get out. Go next door." Bang, 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 bang. "Hey, hotel's on fire. Get out." They're like, "Thanks." Go to the next door. Bang, bang, bang. Hotel's on fire. Where? I don't smell smoke. I don't see flames. Now I have a moment there to choose to either sit there and try to convince that person that there's a fire, or I can go knock on 10 more doors. And I've learned over the years, I will spend an ample amount of time to help you, educate you that there's a hotel on fire. But at the end of the day, if you're not going to leave your room, I'm not staying there all day. I'm going to move on in 10 more doors, because I need to save as many people as I can.
Right.
That's our entire team and attitude towards life. Is just, I've learned that the people that want it run, and they show up.
Yep. Yeah, same thing we do here. I can drag somebody to their drag. I can drag somebody, but what I do is I put people into a place where they have to, when they're under duress, they have to make a choice. And once they make that choice under, where their pattern will show up, and that defensiveness and that hate and all the stuff they have inside of them will show up, they have to make a choice. Are you gonna let this pattern still run you, It's up big right now. Are you going to let it run you, or are you going to make a new choice right now? When they
So
make
great.
that new choice, that's when things really shift.
That's when it goes. My analogy to neuroplasticity, which is what is like, I always tell patients that come in the office, I'm like, when there's a hill and it rains, it creates a
Yep.
trench, right?
Right.
It creates little trenches. Well, every time it rains, it's going to go in that same trench. And the more it rains, the deeper the trench. The more the trench, that's your thoughts, right? So,
Yep.
one of the things that's hard is jumping out of that track and creating new trenches. It's difficult. And that's where the growth is, because once you change those
Yep.
tracks, it
Yeah.
is
Get it. You
now.
get the neurons that start firing across the field.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
the deal. It's just sort of the same old pathways.
That's my loose analogy. It's just like, but it kind of holds water for people. It makes sense.
Yeah. Awesome. So, um, how do people get in touch with you?
You can go on to alignlife.com/Sugar Hill is our clinic. And, or you could reach out to the clinic directly, 678-482-4400 is the clinic number.
Hmm.
And just tell them you heard us on the podcast. They love to take care of you guys.
Cool. Cool. Have you ever done speaking engagements?
Yes. Yes.
I had a feeling you did. So if somebody desires to have you come speak at a group, how do
Oh, I'd
you?
love to.
Yeah.
You can email me at easiest email is Dr. DRJ initial Clarino, DRJ Clarino, CLARINO @gmail.com. Just the easiest.
Awesome. And what type of places have you spoken?
Oh God, I've spoken all over health events, business conferences. We put on lectures 4 times a year for the franchises. I've literally spoken, me and my wife have spoken all over the literally world, like for chiropractic stuff. Like, so we've gone to Canada, we've gone to, my wife's been to Italy speaking. So we've been all over. It's fun. It's really a lot of
What?
fun.
Okay. So what does your wife do?
She's a chiropractor. Me and my wife, a high school sweetheart. She's a chiropractor.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, and you got to share the story of how, yes, with how you met with her and everything. That's awesome.
Yeah, that was
Awesome stuff.
it is kind of a magical story, and we still love each other imaginably crazy. It's after all these years.
I mean, you got kids too, I guess.
We have, ironically, that's the part of our lives that's weird, is that we've had no kids. We tried learning what I learned now later on in life. I think that would have been a different story. We tried to adopt a couple times and that fell apart. That was a very weird process and hard process. And we just got to the point where it was like, you know what, man, maybe kids aren't in our dynamic. And I think that's why we see 300-400 kids a week in our practice. It's just kind of we're like the
Yeah.
parents, we hug and love them, and then they go home.
Yeah. Yeah. I have yet to have kids also. Um, love kids.
Love them.
And I'll be 67, and we have kids. We have kids. I mean, from 13 to 16 coming to our classes and loving what we're doing, and I get them all laughing and stuff. And I mean, and we do some really deep work with people. We use humor as a vehicle for transformation, so we get them laughing at their shit, and they think that's just funny. And we got one 16-year-old just came to class. She's got 14 of her friends coming to class.
Wow.
I know.
What a great influencer.
Yeah, I mean, wow.
Yeah, but I would tell you, I think if you're truly impact driven, I think that's the market that is probably going to make the biggest breakthrough, is that 12 to 18, 20-year-old kid.
Yep,
I'm real passionate about that age, because I think that's where you have so many questions and no answers, and you have so many ways to look at the world now, especially through your phone, that
yep,
I think it's more confusing than ever before. And to
yep,
understand your consciousness and understand your values and understand what the world means to you, and then more, I think, and then on top of that, doubling down on your strengths
yep,
and knowing your God-given strength, I think becomes a true equation for where your power lies. And then
yep,
I think kids then don't let the noise of the world affect them as much as it should,
yeah.
because there's a direction and a feeling and understanding of what they're doing. And I tell you, that's some powerful work, man. I love that space.
Yeah. Once they start having their purpose at a young age.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I mean, they're just a force of nature, man.
We've had 117 interns come through our clinic.
Wow.
117 students have come through, and we trained them. Yeah, we are. I'm a big proponent of bringing up the next generation. And there's not enough chiropractors or even professionals across the board that aren't laying down the hand and saying, "Hey, man, let me show you the ropes."
Yeah.
And I think that's such a big part of what we do today. We're so busy that we haven't stopped,
Yeah.
had a moment to just show these young, students, doctors, wherever, children, what the next things are in life. And I don't know, I feel like I've gone through every experience there is just about in life and business. And so giving some of those lessons and passing them down, I think is such a powerful thing.
Yeah. When the medical industry went from, it used to be from the bottom up. You'd
Yeah.
go, hey, somebody has something going on. Well, go talk to old Dr. Mike. Dr. Mike's been around. He's had 15 of these people. And people would apprentice with, would do the typical apprentice thing. Now it's medicine from the top down. Here's the way you got to do it. Why do we have to do it that way? You don't get to ask that question.
I know.
And
Yep.
no, no, and no, and no, no,
Yep.
no. Um, you know, you know, lies hate questions, and truth loves them. So if somebody's living in a state of lie and they don't want to have questions, nope, see you, buddy.
So
Yep.
true.
All right. So I always end the podcast with one question. What do you love about life?
Wow. What do I love about life? I believe in my heart of hearts that we are favored. Me and my wife are just been chosen to just help lead and show people um, just better side of life, man, from healthcare to business to yourself. And we've just been empowered to do that. And it's been it's a fun journey to help flip people's lives. Like it's whether it's in chiropractic or I'm coaching with a client or I'm helping a franchise or whatever it is, I'm helping an employee. It doesn't matter. It's just it's the art of leadership that I've enjoy more than I've ever enjoyed it. And I know what that's been given to me, and I know the responsibility of that. And because of that, it has been a blast.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Dude, you know, I love your passion. You got a great smile, great energy. So grateful you came on the show, Dr. Joe.
Thank you so
And
much.
I look forward to having you kind of come on again and hearing about your longevity project as
Yeah, I'd love
well.
to share that. It's some really cool stuff.
Yeah, when you talked about that, like, man, this sounds good to get on too. So
Yeah, it's good stuff. It's really cool. It's really cool.
awesome. Well, blessings to you, sir, and have a great week.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.